Yo, it's good. It's Skano from the gutter. There's a lot of people jumping on this FBA wave, but I think a lot of y'all really just be talking, man. Like y'all don't have no real plan. There's nothing tangible to what, it's a lot of talking points, but the thing is, because it seems, like I said, there's some confusion, particularly amongst the political demographic, people like Roland Martin, for instance. And I ain't gonna lie, man. It's not just so much as you play both sides of the track, because one minute you FBA and the next you're talking down on FBA, saying that we have, no political decorum. As far as, we don't understand the political battlefield. Woo woo. FBAs are not a political organization at all. It's about lineage. It's ethnogenesis. So I don't know, Now there are going to be certain FBAs that are, Republican, and some are going to be Democrat. But it's not about a political denomination. That being said, because like I said, man, there's a gang of people, FBA this, FBA that, but what exactly are you standing on? Do you have, any type of contingency plan? I mean, listen, this is whatever political denomination benefits FBAs, that's which political party we should support. If it's Democrats, if it's Republicans. It's about pushing FBA agendas, for instance, reparations. Now, Obama was in office for damn near a decade. Democrats had the office for millennia. Have we gotten any closer to reparations? No. So while people like Roland Martin, you sit back and you're saying, oh, you FBAs are dumb, you voted in Trump, and it didn't benefit you. I'm trying to recall how voting for Democrats has benefited us. And I'm not talking about federal aid, because that benefits all people in this country that are in need of it. You know what I'm saying? And a certain economic. So we're going to exclude that. But on this reparations issue, because that keep getting kicked down, that ain't even getting kicked down the road. That can is not even, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear y'all saying, or now like I said, there are some people like Tariq Nasheed, I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know where you stand, bro. I don't. But we should be building homeless shelters in our communities. We should have neighborhood watch groups in our communities. And you can call it what you want to. You know what I'm saying? A snitch gang. We need to start taking the initiative if we want to make our communities better. Because right now, just sitting back, you know what I'm saying? We need to be more proactive. And we need people in the political field that represent us. Politicians and leaders that not just look like us. The Roland Martins, the Kamalas. You can't just look the part. You have to be pushing FBA's agenda. I hear y'all do a lot of talking, but then when y'all get in office, nothing shake or move when it comes to FBAs. Y'all get to talking, that ain't how America works. Ain't that what Obama said? Well, goddamn it, what is the point of this shit? This is what we vote for. We vote political officials in an office that we feel like pushing our agendas so shit change. Dude, This dude Obama said that's not how America works. When he got pressed about, and I'm not going to sit here and shit on Obama now, but this is what I'm talking about when people like Roland Martin say we should, you know, have this political stance or we should be on this political side of whoever pushes FBA's agenda. But first and foremost, what do we stand for? Progression of foundational black Americans in every way. So that means that we have to be proactive in our own communities. And you start small. You know what I'm saying? Get homeless shelters up, first and foremost. And like I said, make our communities safer. Y'all remember when the Black Panthers used to be patrolling? You know what I'm saying? Now the gangs run the shit. And like I said, I used to be part of the problem. So having some insight, as long as there's no pushback, nothing will change. And that goes from the streets in our communities to these politicians. So we can't just be pawns. That's what we have been for millennia. FBAs, we have been pawns in the political. They tell us, now I'm not saying you should have a hands-off approach. Anybody who thinks that not being politically inclined or being involved politically that's beneficial to FBAs, you're mistaken. But at the same time, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. And being an FBA is not a political, denomination. It's lineage. Like I said, ethnogenesis. I hope that clears up some confusion. Because some of y'all popping at me, y'all saying, well, what exactly do y'all talking this FBA shit? But what does that even mean? What do you even stand for? Like, we've tried to explain this shit over. It's about lineage. So as it applies politically, that's where, we need to get on the same page. Because if you're saying you FBA, but you may be voting Democrat. This FBA over here, they voting Republican. So how is that exact? We need to be in tune. We need to understand the political landscape, which party is most beneficial to us, and that's who we get behind. Because we everywhere. You got black Republicans, you got black, but at the end of the day, we are Americans, And I would like to say we American first and foremost. But let's be real. When other Americans look at you, whether they white, whether they Latinos, what do they see first? Right. So while I want to say, we're American first, in reality, we are black first. So, like I said, man, I hope that clears up some confusion. I'm independent, man, as far as my political denial. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like I said, now, I understand there are a lot of FBAs in this country that have, fallen off of being politically involved at all, because they don't see any benefit. And I'm going to be real with you. Not voting, not being involved at all is not beneficial to us, like I said. But at the same time, all these years, being involved has not really been beneficial to us. Not when it comes down to the issues that, so we can't sit around and wait on anyone, though. Let's be real about that. You know what? All the FBAs that's online popping off, flexing their money, flexing their status. Why aren't we pooling our money to build our own infrastructures? You know what I'm saying? We should not be black businesses, black schools, black banks, because we're not on the same. We jump on the same ways, but we don't be pushing the same agendas for real, man. We don't. So, but don't confuse this with, we don't have to have a designated political denomination. You understand? You don't. But we have to have some type of solidarity when it comes from a political standpoint. And we have to have legitimate, tangible goals and objectives that we pushing for. We can, because just jumping on here and saying, well, I'm FBA this, FBA that. But okay, at the end of the day, that is not changing shit in our communities. That's not going to change the status of FBAs in this country. So we have to be involved politically. And it's a complicated thing. I'm not going to stand here and act like it's a complicated thing. But, if it's just about identifying your lineage, that's cool. No one's saying just because you represent FBA that you have, to be politically. You could just be FBA and just live out your years and, you know what I'm saying, do what you do, man. But if you really expect change to happen in our communities, we gonna have to make it happen. It's not gonna be, a Democrat, Republican, woo-woo. It's gonna be us. But as far as, like I said, politically, our vote should carry weight. And it does. And that's where, from a political standpoint, us delineating will be impactful. Our vote has always mattered. It's just that when they get into office, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, it's not just about people that look like us in office. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, man, I'm not going to stand here and act like Roland Martin. Well, like I said, man, whatever my opinions of him may be, I'm not going to stand and act like he has not contributed to the black community whatsoever. But like I said, it's hard to know which side you tethers be on. Because you play both sides of the track. You know what I'm saying? But I'm on one side, man. I'm on this side, And like I said, whatever your political denomination, your ethnicity, your nationality, if you're not pushing FBA agendas, and we keep saying agendas, what are our agendas? So it's more than just a movement, because a movement that has, no end game, is that a movement? No, it's not it's a wave. And the biggest waves, at some point, they run out of energy. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is. But I hope that clears up some confusion as far as this is ethnogenesis. We're not a political organization. No obsolete scale. You already know.